Welcome to the Sun today for the 16th of April 2025. At the moment we're in a severe geomagnetic storm. Meanwhile, solar activity seems to be quieting down a bit. The sunspot number did recover to about 90, but that's still fairly low. We have two new numbered sunspot regions on the disk at the moment, both coming over the east limb. Solar flare activity has been relatively low. We have only had 4 C flares, but no M or X flares in the last 24 hours. And there have only been 2 coronal mass ejections registered by SOHO. Solar wind speed did get up to about 600 kilometers per second, but is now dropping back to about 500 kilometers per second, and I expect it will go lower. There are a grand total of 6 sunspot regions on the disk at the moment. The overall sunspot area has increased slightly to about 500 millionths, but again that is relatively small. I've marked the 2 areas where there are new spots coming over the east limb. You can just about see the one in the north because it's fairly large, but the one in the south is not quite visible on this resolution image as yet. So what are the details about this storm that we're having? It's a major storm. The KP index has risen from 2 yesterday to about 8 today, which is a G4 level or severe storm. The last measurement showed it moderating somewhat. It could continue to do so or might even re-intensify again. We'll have to wait and see tomorrow. The forecast auroral arc is large and very angry looking, and dropping to relatively low latitudes. We may be able to see aurora at the US-Canadian border or even lower. Here is a selection of some of the images of aurora that have been taken in the last day. They are quite spectacular. I don't guarantee that you'll get aurora of this quality unless you're at very high latitudes, but nonetheless it's still very beautiful. The solar X-ray emission, as measured by the GOES spacecraft, from about C2 or 3 level down to about C1 level, and you can see the number of flares is relatively small, and they're only relatively small C flares at that. Well, let's take a look at the coronal mass ejection activity. This again, as usual, is the combination of the C2 coronagraph, that's the high resolution field of view, the red shown here, and the C3 coronagraph on SOHO that looks at the larger field of view. We have a new solar cycle 25 forecast chart. This is based on the sunspot number. The F10.7 centimeter flux gives a very similar result, so I'm not bothering to show both of them. But anyway, the line in purple is the actual smooth sunspot number, and then the continuation on the right is the model, and it predicts that the peak of this cycle will have occurred in August of last year, and then we'll have a long slow decline over the next 5 years into solar minimum in 2030 or perhaps even 2031. But do remember, the sun has fooled us many times before. Well, let's try our hand at forecasting what's going to happen tomorrow. The sunspot number is rising at the moment and may continue to do so as those regions come over the east limb and we see how big they are. The flare rate will remain low, I suspect. I don't see any major region that's going to produce major flares in the next few days. The solar wind speed will fall back to more normal levels as this storm passes, and the geomagnetic storm will end fairly soon. Once again, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed